بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد الصادق الوعد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان ودعا بدعوتهم إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Hadith number 193 from the book and hadith number 8 from the chapter. Chapter is Al-Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahyu 'anil Munkar. The chapter of calling towards good and forbidding from evil. حديث نمبر 8 عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رأى خاتما من ذهب في يد رجل فنزعه فطرحه وقال يعمد أحدكم إلى جمرة من نار فيجعلها في يده فقيل للرجل بعدما ذهب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خذ خاتما انتفع به قال لا والله لا آخذه أبدا وقد طرحه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رواه مسلم. On the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, both of them are companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrates that the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, he saw a gold ring. He saw a gold ring of a man was wearing a gold ring. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took it off his finger and he threw it. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, one of you intend to put a fire of coal into his hand. Would one of you would like to put a fire coal in his hand? And then the Prophet ﷺ departed from the gathering. So someone said to this man, another Sahabi probably who was there, he said that go, get your gold and benefit from it. He said, La wallahi, no, never, by Allah, I would not take this gold again, which was thrown away from me by the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mentioned by Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala in his Sahih. So, from this hadith we learn is that if you see a munkar, and munkar basically means anything that the Sharia dislikes, that's called munkar. Munkar doesn't mean what I dislike. This is another mistake as well. A lot of people, they do munkar. Oh, this is haram. Actually, it's not even haram. It's haram according to his understanding. So munkar means anything that Sharia dislikes. Not what you dislike, it's got nothing to do with you. That's your personal choice. What Sharia dislikes is munkar. So hadith says that if it's a munkar and you are a man of authority, you are in authority, you are in charge, and you could remove it with the hand, you should remove it with the hand. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw one of his male Sahabi wearing a ring, gold ring. And for a man to wear a gold is haram in Islam. Men are not allowed to wear, gold in Islam at all. Not even little, not at all. Men cannot wear gold ring. Yes, that's just, this is just a consensus. Sometimes you get something like someone wear a watch, for example, they get something gold plated. These kind of things are permissible. But gold ring, not permissible at all. Or men wearing jewelry anywhere else. Nowadays we have to mention that as well. People in the olden days they used to just wear a ring. But now people are wearing bracelets, men are wearing bracelets and necklace and so many things that's happening here. Men are not allowed in Islam. It is absolutely haram. Haram because the Prophet ﷺ, look what he said, would you like to wear fire in your hand? Do you want your finger to go to Jahannam, the Prophet said. So whenever the Prophet will speak like this, that means it is not just makruh, dislike, it means it's kabira, it's major sin. So the Prophet ﷺ, he did not like any of the men wearing gold. Sometimes like when people get married, they say that you're allowed to wear white gold. So they ask you, it's not gold color, it's white gold. It's gold. White gold is more expensive than the real gold. No gold is permissible, So I say to them, if you really want to give something to your son-in-law, give him cash money or give him a watch or something. There are so many other things. Buy him a car, If you really want to give, there are so many alternatives. Who tells you that you have to give that ring? It just, there's no need to. And if you think that you really want to do those, put a ring on, then give a silver ring. Because gold is not permissible for the man to wear. Secondly, so we learn from this, the Prophet ﷺ, he took it off his finger and he threw it. Because you see the Prophet ﷺ is the shari', is a lawgiver. The Prophet of Allah sometimes has to physically show people that it's not just, dislike is haram, so that they understand that we men shouldn't be going after gold and wearing the gold. So he took it off his finger and he threw it. He said, would you like to wear fire of coal in your hand? So everybody understood the message. The men are not allowed to wear gold ring. So the Prophet of Allah is allowed to do that. He's stopping a munkar with his own hand. So sometimes, for example, if you're in authority, like a teacher, for example, in authority, and an imam is an authority, a father is an authority, they sometimes would, inshallah ta'ala, physically do stop the munkar as well. But this is physically, mean that using your hand to remove the munkar, physically to remove the munkar is not the job of everybody. So you see someone else with no connection with him, you grab his ring and you throw it away, you cause him a problem here. He's going to say, mind your own business. Who are you? So we're talking about the people of authority here. Right. Second thing that we learn from this hadith also is that the Prophet ﷺ, after he left, some other companion, they said, grab the gold and grab this ring. Don't wear it, but it's yours. Grab it and benefit from it. What do you mean by benefit from it? I mean, you could sell it. Men are not allowed to wear gold ring, but does not mean that you're not allowed to benefit from it. You're allowed to possess it, have it, you could sell it, and the money that you made, you could use it, no problem. Alternatively, you could give it to any of the women. You could give it to your wife, your sister, or anyone. Not a problem. You're allowed to do that. So that's the reason why. So this is the reason why our consensus from our ulama is that men are not allowed to wear gold, and women are allowed to wear gold. Only Shaykh Nasiruddin al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, used to have an opinion. He said that the men are allowed to wear gold, women are allowed to wear gold as well. But the Shaykh, was rejected and refuted by many of the scholars of his time as well. What happened was he read few hadith, and those hadith said that the Prophet ﷺ reprimanded Fatima radiallahu ta'ala. That Fatima, why is that I see you wearing a gold ring? It's not befitting for you to wear a gold ring like that. So the Shaykh read those kind of hadith. But that's for the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is like exclusive. The Prophet of Allah, he wanted Fatima to choose zuhud as well. Like Fatima, or any of the hadiths that we find, either they are weak or they contradict the authentic hadith that we read now, or there's a very authentic hadith that said that gold is impermissible for the men but permissible for the women. The Prophet of Allah used word like that. Based on those hadith, and also we're going to say that maybe the Prophet of Allah, he told some of the women not to wear it because it goes against the zuhud. Like, we are not, we shouldn't be enjoying gold and silver. We want in the hereafter. So it goes against the zuhud. Zuhud means disconnecting yourself from the dunya. That's what the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. But to say based on this hadith that women are not allowed to wear gold, it goes against the ulama's ijma'. Because it's coming right from the time of the Sahaba. If you look at this, the Sahaba said, go grab this gold and you could do something with it. And there's another hadith we'll read. There was a silk cloth, Umar ibn Khattab was wearing it. And, and the Prophet of Allah, he didn't like it. And then, the Prophet of Allah said, look, Umar threw it away. The Prophet said, Umar, grab it and give it to some of your women folk. So that's what the ulama, they said. Certain things are not permissible for the men, like wearing gold and also silk as well, but it is permissible for the women. So based on this hadith, we will say that no, women are allowed to wear gold, not men. Anyway, this hadith is very clear that our Prophet ﷺ is to prevent and stop munkar with his own hand as well. Because Rasulullah ﷺ not verbally just preventing the munkar, not just giving bayans and lectures, he physically demonstrated how to stop munkar as well, because he's a shari', he's a lawgiver. That's the reason why the Prophet ﷺ was doing this. Okay, and we read the hadith before in the very beginning of this chapter as well, that if anyone sees munkar, then he should change it with his hand. If he can't, then with his tongue. If he can't, then he should change it with his heart. So this level actually, not just a level of priority, it's a level of responsibility and authority as well. If you're in authority, one. If so you're a husband, you're a father, you're a teacher, you could use your hand. Then go to the second degree, is for just general people like that, all of us. We could do it with our tongue. And there are some situations where you can't even speak as well. You'll get in trouble. Then you should hate it with your heart as well and make plans to change it. Inshallah, hopefully this is clear as well. التاسع حديث number 9 عن أبي سعيد الحسن البصري أن عائذ بن عمرو رضي الله تعالى عنه دخل على عبيد الله بن زياد فقال أي بني إني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن شر الرعاء الحطمة فإياك أن تكون منهم. فقال له اجلس فإنما أنت من نخالة أصحاب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقال وهل كانت لهم نخالة؟ إنما كانت النخالة بعدهم وفي غيرهم. رواه Muslim. Another authentic hadith from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, from the authority of Hassan al-Basri rahmatullah alayhi. He mentioned that A'id ibn Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Sahabi of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to see Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad. So this is the story happening in Iraq now. Hassan al-Basri is from Basra, and he met the Sahabi A'id ibn Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. That's why Hassan al-Basri is kibar al-tabi'i. Hassan al-Basri, he wasn't a Sahabi, he was a tabi'i. He met so many companions. One of them is this Sahabi A'id ibn Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. A'id ibn Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he participated the battle of the Bay'ah of Hudaybiyah with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Bay'ah of Ridwan as well. You know, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ. All the believing men who gave their bay'ah to you, O Prophet Muhammad, under the particular tree, Allah is very pleased with them. So this Sahaba is from very high rank of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He lived in Iraq, and he died at the time of Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad. Now moving on to Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad, who is he? So A'id ibn Amr is the Sahabi. He went to see Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad, and he said to Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad, he said, "Oh my son, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the worst rulers, from all the rulers, the worst one is the one who is very harsh with his people. So be aware, don't be like those harsh rulers. Rulers who rules with harshness." He said, "Sit down, you." Look at the way he's talking to the Sahabi, very rude. He said, "You, sit down here. You know, you are not one of the top elite companions anyway." He said to him, "You are the husk, the leftover of Prophet Muhammad's companion." So the Sahabi said to him, "Husk, you know, when you make bread, or when you eat bread, you know all the crumb that falls, that's called nukhala, leftover. Some of the people don't eat. When you eat the bread, or when you make the bread, you know the leftover, they are called husk, nukhala. Because you are not the real, you are not the essence and the main companions. You are like the nukhala, the leftover one." He said, "What are you talking about? Hal kanat lahum nukhala? How dare you call the companions husks? Yeah, the husk and the leftovers are not in the companions, it's after the companions." It means it's you, not the companion. Anyway, then he walked away. Ubaidullah was, you probably, from this hadith you could realize, he was very harsh. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, first of all, Ziyad is the son of Abu Sufyan. Ziyad is the son of Abu Sufyan. So they used to call him Ziyad ibn Abihi. Because Abu Sufyan, he didn't marry the Shari'i marriage. And that's what they used to call him, Ziyad, the son of his father. Not Ziyad ibn Abi Sufyan. But, it was a marriage, so therefore they called him Ziyad ibn Abi Sufyan as well. So Ziyad, his basically son is Ubaidillah. He was made to be the governor of Iraq. Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad, he was a ruler, governor, but he was very harsh. He was very, very harsh. So harsh, so strict, that the Sahaba went and advised him as well, that be very careful. The way you govern, the way you give judgment, the way you rule is not good. This is not the way to do it. This man, Ubaidillah ibn Ziyad, by the way, is one of the very first person to cross the river Oxus, Transoxiana, which is called the Jayhun River. The river that if you cross it, you will be on the other side of the brother here knows, the other side of Central Asia, Uzbekistan. So he actually went in the 55th Hijri. In the 55th Hijri, subhanAllah, he crossed the river, went to the other side in Bukhara and Samarkand, and he gave da'wah. So he's got some good stuff, but his nature was very harsh. He was a tough guy, harsh guy. So the Sahaba, they said, I know you're a ruler, but you shouldn't be ruling like this with your harshness. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna sharra ri'a al-hutama," the one who treats people harshly, anger, always treating harshly, and these people are not the good rulers. So be gentle, And you could tell he's a harsh ruler. He goes to him, shut up, who are you to talk to me? You don't talk to the Sahaba like this. Who are you? You are not one of those top elite companions. You are the leftovers anyway. So from this you could understand, what kind of a person he was. He was very harsh. Sahaba advised him as well. Astaghfirullah al-Azim, he's got some good virtues. I told you, he took Islam to Samarkand and Bukhara and other places as well. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, he crossed the river Jayhun, Transoxiana. Amu Darya, he crossed that, he went to the other side, gave da'wah as well, and he done jihad and gave da'wah, all of that. However, he was responsible for the death of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Unfortunately, because he was the ruler at that time when Yazid, the son of Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when Yazid, he wrote to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad that I heard Hussein did not give me bay'ah, go bring him to justice. Although Yazid didn't say go kill him, but Yazid basically said, I want him. Yes, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, he was the chief commander, and he's the one actually, sent the people to attack Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, as you all know, his head was separated from his body. They chopped his head off. And then it is mentioned, I'm not sure how authentic it is, that Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was celebrating the death. Yes, good, we killed him. And then he was basically playing with his head. The head was put into a casket, and he had a stick in his hand, and with the stick, he was moving the head to see is it really him they killed. So, and he was saying, he was singing a poetry, نُفَلِّقُ هَامًا مِنْ رِجَالٍ كَانُوا أَعِزَّةً عَلَيْنَا نُفَلِّقُ هَامًا مِنْ رِجَالٍ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَيْنَا وَهُمْ كَانُوا أَعَقَّ وَأَظْلَمًا. He said, people, they were so respected, but we have separated the head because they were disobedient to us. He was singing in a poetry like that. Anas was there, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Very old Anas. We are not talking about the young Anas anymore. Anas is towards the end of his time now. Anas came. He said, whose head is this? And Anas looked at it and he started crying. Because Anas is a Sahabi, right? He said, you people are horrible. How dare you kill this man? Do you know something? The face that I'm looking at now, that face resembled the face of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one saw the Prophet of Allah except for Anas. No one in that gathering saw the Prophet of Allah except for Anas. Anas saw the face, right? He said, you guys, you should be very lucky that you guys haven't seen the Prophet of Allah, but someone looks like Rasulullah, he was alive and you killed him. The face that you're looking at, everything from top to bottom, from left to right, that face is the face of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You kill someone looks like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How horrible you are, Anas said. And Anas got up and walked. And so lots of people told Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad that your attitude, your conduct, your mannerism, your way of fooling is wrong. Don't do it. But anyway, a few years later, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was killed. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was killed. I'm not exactly sure when he was, but the man who killed him his name was Al-Ashtar al-Nakha'i. Killed him, also chopped his head off. So, also chopped his head off, and he also put him into a basket, into a casket. And then as they left the body there, suddenly a snake came. This is, everybody witnessed this in Basra. A snake came, entered Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad's head through the nostrils and disappeared, the snake, and then came out from the mouth. Did you get it? So everybody, no one felt sorry for him, to be honest with you. They said, this is what happens when you kill the grandson of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anyway, the hadith that we learn here is that companions, they gave da'wah. The Prophet of Allah, when he saw a munkar, he removed the munkar. And here we see a Sahabi, his name is A'id ibn Amr. He actually verbally told him that your way of dealing is wrong. If he saw a munkar, he told him that this is wrong. So this is what we learn, that if you see a munkar, you have to do something about it. You can't stay quiet. If someone does haram in front of you, you can't just ignore it. You should come with some hikmah, some wisdom. If you can't use your hand to remove it, you remove it. If it's something that you can't use your hand, when I say hand by the way, I don't mean physically beat someone up. I'm talking about removing with the hand the munkar. If you can't use the hand, then use your tongue. And if you use the tongue, follow all the guidelines of the Quran. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'idati al hasanati, with wisdom and hikmah, and maw'idah hasana, with good words as well. And the last hadith that we're going to read, inshallah ta'ala, is from Hudhayfa radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال والذي نفسي بيده لتأمرن بالمعروف ولتنهون عن المنكر أو ليوشكن الله أن يبعث عليكم عقابا منه ثم تدعونه فلا يستجاب لكم رواه الترمذي وقال حديث حسن. From the authority of Hudhayfa, may Allah be pleased with him, he reports from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said, I swear by the one in whose hand is my life, I swear by the one in whose hand is my life, that you must call towards good and you must prevent from evil. Otherwise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send very soon a punishment, and then you will call Allah, supplicate to him, and your supplication won't be accepted. Imam at-Tirmidhi mentioned, and he said the hadith is sound. So as you see, the Prophet ﷺ is taking a qasam. When the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, he always speaks the truth. When the Prophet of Allah speaks the truth, he doesn't need to do qasam. He doesn't have to take oath. But the fact that the Prophet ﷺ is still taking an oath is to tell us that it's very important for the purpose of emphasis, ta'keed. Yes, and the Prophet ﷺ saying that when people, they don't call towards good, and if the people, if they see munkar and they don't stop the munkar, they don't use any of the hikmah and they don't stop the munkar, then one of the punishment Allah will give is that no one's dua will be accepted. Astaghfirullah al-azim. So dua is not going to be accepted now. You make dua, why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is your punishment now. Your dua won't be accepted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet of Allah said, تَدْعُونَهُ فَلَا يُسْتَجَابُ لَكُمْ. You will be making dua, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not accept your dua. The reason why Allah is not accepting your dua, because you are not doing ma'ruf, you are not calling towards ma'ruf, you are not calling towards good, and you are not preventing from evil. That's the reason why, al-amru bil ma'ruf wa nahyu 'anil munkar is a collective duty. We all have to do it. Every one of us have to do it. We've got to start with our house, we've got to start with our family members, we've got to start with our community, our society, our locality, and then inshallah slowly we should use any of the talents Allah has given us so that we spread the good information inshallah ta'ala and prevent evil as much as we can from around the world, or at least contribute towards it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq inshallah ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Anyone have any questions?